In Australia, a professor is called to the microphone so he can make a speech. He starts with a silly joke, but then he makes a nasty one. A lady from the committee tries to make him stop. The professor cuts one of her fingers off. Everyone runs away in panic. While the professor picks the finger, soon the police arrive. He gets shot. With his dying breath, the professor tries to reach for his ringing phone, to no avail. In Louisiana, Elliot says goodbye to his pregnant girlfriend Shelby, who he'll be marrying in a few days. He goes to work, only to learn that he's getting fired for being too nice with the clients, but also because Elliot needs his insurance to take care of his mentally challenged brother. Elliot goes to check on his brother Michael, who is very scared to hear the news. Without insurance paying for outpatient care, Michael will be sent back to a mental institution. Elliot goes to visit his abusive father Samson to ask for help, only to discover that Samson has lost all his retirement funds. That night, Michael asks Elliot to drive him to the store so he can get his medicine. During the trip, Michael points out how weird it was that their father only became mean later. After dropping Michael, Elliot stops at the traffic lights and gets annoyed by a fly circling around his face. When suddenly Elliot gets a call from an unknown number, a mysterious voice calls him by his full name and announces that Elliot has been selected for a very unique game show that could make him tons of money. The voice reveals it knows everything about him. He has student loans, credit card debt, and trouble sleeping. The voice even knows there's a fly in the car and tells Elliot to swat it, promising to pay him $1,000. Elliot quickly swats the fly, killing it. As soon as he does so, saying the money has been deposited in his bank account. Elliot gets out of the car to check if someone is spying on him, but he doesn't see anyone. The voice calls again and tells Elliot that his next challenge is to swallow the fly for exactly $3,622, which is what Shelby owes on her credit card. The traffic light finally changes to green. Minutes later, Elliot arrives home and checks his bank account online, confirming the money was deposited. Elliot takes out the fly and eats it, which causes the next prize money to instantly appear. The voice calls again, saying that in just 36 hours, Elliot can be very rich. He only has to complete 11 more challenges that will increase in value as he advances in the game. If he makes it to the end, he'll get $6 million. If he fails any of the challenges, the game ends and Elliot loses all the money he made up to that point. There are rules to follow, so when Elliot sees Shelby leave her room, he starts moving around the house to avoid her, eventually hiding in the bathroom. Telling anyone about the game, Elliot presses 1 to accept the deal, and the voice makes him sing, "I will dance with the golden toad," and hangs up. Elliot goes back to Shelby and tells her he's been organizing a surprise to get her off his back. Elliot goes to the park with Shelby and her parents. As soon as his phone rings, he leaves the group and hears the next challenge. He must make a child cry in 5 minutes for $5,000. Elliot looks around the park and sees a little girl running and tells her that her parents are going to leave her in an orphanage. When she doesn't believe him, that's why they're talking about right now. The girl finally gets upset and cries as she runs back to the family, and Elliot gets a message confirming the money. Afterward, he hurries to help his group pick up their things, driving away as the girl's parents run after him to throw a trash can at his car. The couple makes it to church to pick up Samson. While Shelby is stuck helping him get back on his wheelchair, Elliot gets a call with a new challenge. He must burn a nativity scene handcrafted by blind kids. Shelby takes Samson to the bathroom. That doesn't stop him from asking her to help him with his zipper. Elliot uses this opening to steal the nativity scene, where he lights it on fire and instantly receives the money. However, he fails to control the flames, which soon spread to the actual church. He runs to activate the alarm. Then he finds Shelby and Samson. Outside, he receives another call telling him that once he's ready, he must follow the homeless person across the street. Elliot immediately leaves Shelby behind with his father. At the police station, the little girl's parents are reporting the incident at the same time that the homeless person reports that a guy offered him an ostrich plus $1,000 for his clothes and shopping cart. The description both victims give match, and Detective Chilcote becomes interested in the case, especially when a new report comes in, saying the same guy started a fire at church. An officer comes in with the infamous ostrich. Meanwhile, Elliot has put on the homeless man's clothes and is doing the sixth challenge. For $50,000, he must take the guy from 6B out for a cup of coffee before 4 p.m. He's disturbed to find the guy dead in the tub. The voice explains the man's self-deleted. Elliot sprays freshener all over the body to cover up the rotting smell and drags him out of the apartment in the homeless guy's shopping cart, making sure to put him in a position that makes him look alive. With only 1 minute left on the clock, a group of police officers enters the diner and sits right behind Elliot, making him nervous. The waiter serves them coffee first, leaving Elliot with no choice but to steal a cup from them just in time. A message to his phone confirms he got the money. Elliot apologizes and drops a bunch of money on the table while calling out the cops. This makes them back away, and Elliot gets to escape. He gets a call from the voice, who is so impressed by the police trick that he counts it as the seventh challenge. Michael comes out on a quiet street and finds a bus being driven by a silent person with a mask. So he gets in. Meanwhile, at the diner, the police are getting the body, and Chilcote finds a card that fell from Elliot's wallet when he paid. He sees a strange man called Vogler talking to the waitress, but he's gone before he can interrogate him. The waitress tells Chilcote that Vogler claimed to be a reporter and left him a paper with his contact information. Chilcote visits Vogler at his trailer, but Vogler immediately runs away and gets behind a gate, which he locks up to stop Chilcote from following him. Chilcote decides to search the trailer and finds lots of information about the game and even a symbol that appears to be the organization logo. Back to Elliot, he's still on the bus. The voice tells him to take out his library card, but Elliot doesn't find it in the wallet. This means the police knows his identity now, that if he finishes the game, he'll make all the charges go away. Late at night, and he goes to room 8, where he finds the organization logo on the keychain. There's a nurse and a guy called John, who recognizes him. It turns out they went to school together, and John used to harass Elliot all the time. As the nurse takes out a saw, Elliot gets a call telling him to cut John's arm off. This means he's getting paid for this. Elliot gets ready to do it. Desperate to win, John starts insulting Elliot and reminding him of all the things he did to him and his brother in school. Eventually, Elliot snaps and cuts the arm off in just one move, while John yells in pain and blood is splattered everywhere. Elliot puts John in his car and takes him to the hospital, giving the arm and a bag to a nurse before leaving. On his way out, and hits him with it twice until it breaks. Then he gets a message confirming that last act is Challenge 9. In the meantime, the police are searching Elliot's home to get a clue about his next destination. A few hours later, Elliot makes it to the practice dinner for his wedding. He says hello to everyone, but quickly moves to a corner, anxiously waiting for the next call. The voice finally comes in and says, Challenge 10 will be for $500,000. When it's Elliot's turn to give a toast, he must destroy the room while singing the Internationale Communist anthem. Everything breakable must be broken, and flowers must be urinated on. To distract the cops, Elliot decides to proceed with the challenge, and he starts breaking glasses. Michael uses the chance to run away, and Elliot grabs a microphone stand to start destroying everything in the room. Elliot threatens to self-delete to keep them at bay and proceeds to pee on the flowers, putting up a chair to block the door. However, the next call tells him that his 11th challenge is to get arrested, so he has no choice but to move the chair and let the cops tackle him. Later at the station, he's interrogated for hours, and a cop makes a list of all his crimes. Elliot sees things he didn't do, making realize someone else is playing the game too.